So, Terrace, Shushma, His Divine Grace, Avacharya Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki, Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Basti Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki. Brother Premanande, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurue Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagadatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavan Ishware Visubhana Suti Devi Pranamami Ari Priye Vancha Kalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mare kabando mat sangin mad guru man madana mad nistadaka mad bhagya mad ananda namostute asadu sadhu tadayin adinicho tatakara hanamuncha karachin mam premnarit katayos puraha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrita Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Tatojayam Madhurayat Nastapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Utamashloke Bhaktir Babadina Ishtaki. Hare Krishna, dear ones. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Creative Impetus, Chapter 2, the Activities of Maharaj Agnidra. Text number 13. Kavat Mavritir Anad. Kavat Mavritir Ananadavir Angavati. Vishnu Kalasyanamisho Namakaru Chakarnao. Udwingamina Yugalam Dvijapankti Sochir. Asana Bringa Nikaram Sara in Mukamte. Kavat Mavritir Adanad Davir Angavati. Vishnu Kalasyani Mishon Makarao Chakarnao. Udwingamina Yugalam Dvijapankti Sochir. Asana Bringa Nikaram Sara in Mukante. Kavat Mavritir Adanadavir Angavati. Vishnu Kalasyani Mishona Mukaro Chaka. Vishnu Kalasyani Miso Makaro Chakarnao. Udwingamina Yugalam Dvijapankti Sochir. Asana Bringa Nikaram Sara in Mukamte.
Kavat Mavritir Adanadhavir Angavati.
Kavat Mavritir Adanadavir Angavati.
Vishnu Kalasya Nimishon Makara Chakarnao.
Vishnu Kalasya Nimisan Makarao Chakarnao.
Udwingamina Yugalam Dvijapankti Shochir.
Udwingamina Yugalam Dvijapankti Shochir.
Asana Bringa Nikaram Sara in Mukhamte.
Asana Bringa Nikaram Sara in Mukamte.
Kavat Mavritir Adanadavir Angavati.
Kavat Mavritir Adanadavir Angavati.
Vishnu Kalasyani Mishon Makaro Chakarno.
Vishnu Kalasyani Mishon Makarao Chakarnao.
Udwingamina Yugalam Dvijapankti Shochir.
Udwingamina Yugalam Dvijapankti Shochir.
Asana Bringanikaram Sara in Mukamte.
Asana Bringa Nikaram Sara in Mukamte.
Kavat Mavritir Adanadhavir Angavati.
Kavat Mavritir Adanadavir Angavati. Vishnu Kalasini Mishona Pakaro Chakarno Udwingamina Yugalam Dvijapanti Shochir Asana Bringa Nikaram Shara in Mukante. Okay, word for word. Ka, what? Va, and. Atmavritti, food for maintenance of the body. Adanat, by the chewing of betel. Havihi, pure sacrificial ingredients. Anga, my dear friend. Vati, emanate. Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu. Kala, expansion of the body. Asi, you are. Animisha, without blinking. Anmakarao, two brilliant sharks. Cha, also. Karnao, two ears. Udwinga, restless. Mina Yugalam, possessing two fish. Dvija Pankti, of lines of teeth. Shochihi, beauty. Asana, nearby. Bringanikaram, possessing swarms of bumblebees. Sarait, like a lake. Mukam, face. Te, your. Translation. My dear friend, what do you eat to maintain your body? Because you are chewing betel, a pleasant scent is emanating from your mouth. This proves that you always eat the remnants of food offered to Lord Vishnu. Indeed, you must also be an expansion of Lord Vishnu's body. Your face is as beautiful as a pleasing lake. Your jeweled earrings resemble two brilliant sharks with unblinking eyes like those of Vishnu, and your own eyes resemble two restless fish. Simultaneously, therefore, two sharks and two restless fish are swimming in the lake of your face. Besides them, the white rows of your teeth seem like rows of very beautiful swans in the water, and your scattered hair resembles swarms of bumblebees, following the beauty of your face. Purport. The devotees of the Lord Vishnu are also his expansions. They're called Vibhanamsa. Lord Vishnu has offered all kinds of sacrificial ingredients. And because devotees always eat prasad, the remnants of his food, the scent of sacrificial ingredients emanates not only from Vishnu, but also from the devotees who eat the remnants of his food or the food of his devotees. Agnidra considered Purvachiti an expansion of Lord Vishnu because of the pleasing scent of her body. Aside from that, because of her jeweled earrings shaped like sharks, because of her scattered hair resembling bumblebees, mad after the scent of her body, and because of her white rows of teeth, which resembled swans, Agnidra compared Purvajiti's face to a beautiful lake decorated with lotus flowers, fish, swans, and bumblebees. My dear friend, what do you eat to maintain your body? Because you are chewing betel, a pleasing scent is emanating from your mouth. This proves that you always eat the remnants of food offered to Vishnu. Indeed, you must also be an expansion of Lord Vishnu's body. Your face is as beautiful as a pleasing lake. Your jewel earrings resemble two brilliant sharks with unblinking eyes, like those of Vishnu, and your own eyes resemble two restless fish. Simultaneously, therefore, two sharks and two restless fish are swimming in the lake of your face. Besides them, the white rows of your teeth seem like rows of very beautiful swans in the water, and your scattered hair resembles swarms of bumblebees, following the beauty of your face. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Prachadini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prastutadi Shatadari. Thank you, dear devotees, for the opportunity to serve. Try to perform devotional service by speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're continuing to hear about the activities of Maharaj Agnidra. Agnidra Maharaj is, of course, he's bewildered by Kamadev. He is seeing the beauty of Purvachiti, and because of this darshan he's taken of Purvachiti, he's becoming totally confused as to what she's a boy, she's a girl. He's just totally overwhelmed by attraction. And this is due to his desire to take a wife. And so Lord Brahma is fulfilling his desire. Of course, we understand that he's the son of the great devotee, Priyavrata. But because Priyavrata was engaged in fruitive activity, in a lusty consciousness at the time of conceiving Agnidra, Agnidra Maharaj came out more materialistic than his pure devotee father. So now we're seeing him compare the beautiful body and scent of Purvachiti to Lord Vishnu or Lord Vishnu's devotees. So Prabhupada chooses to bring out a point in the purport that devotees are special. That's what we want to focus on here. Devotees are very, very special. And if we don't become conscious of that fact, then our spiritual life will suffer in a very intense way. Every devotee is very special. They are the internal potency of the Lord. They are not of the material world. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in his Jaiva Dharma that the tendency for the people is to glorify a saint who has passed away. But when a saint is still living, they many times deride such a person. This is the tendency of the conditioned souls. And we see that in this world today. I've heard like 5 classes by Bhajanarayan Swami since he's left his body. It's like more than I've heard in my whole life, Maharaj. Because, somehow or another, we have that tendency to glorify people after they leave their body. It's a tendency of the conditioned soul. But one thing that is dangerous is that we have a tendency also to deride living Vaishnavas. And when you deride living Vaishnavas, what happens is you completely lose the power of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. If you've read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, specifically the Chaitanya Charitamrita, even more than the Chaitanya Bhagavat, there's a very intense emphasis on the way that Vaishnavas deal with each other and how the Vaishnavas see each other. And this book should be studied more than any other book. It should be read and relished by the devotees, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it really gives us a window into the spiritual world, into how the spiritual culture of Gaudiya Vaishnavism is supposed to work. And you see that all the Vaishnavas see each other as worshipable. That's the main point you see in the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially with his devotees in Jagannath Puri. All the Vaishnavas see each other as worshipable. And not just Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They're all worshiping each other. We'd think that because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is obviously the most qualified personality, everybody would want him as their guru. But in fact, what we see is that all the Vaishnavas are initiating each other in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Specifically, I'm remembering who is Gadadhar Pandit's guru? Pundrik Vidyaniti. Yeah. His guru is Pundrik Vidyaniti. But at one point, Gadadhar Pandit became disenfranchised with his own mantra, his Diksha mantra, his Gayatri mantra. And so he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he asked to be reinitiated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is a big aparad. You should go get reinitiated by your guru. Because he felt his mantra had lost its potency. And you see that in the CC, there's so much reverence for the other Vaishnavas and how they're all taking shelter of each other. So if we think we're the best devotee, Lord Kapila Dev says that that's a symptom of a devotee in the mode of ignorance. I'm the best devotee. Rather, we should think that I'm the lowest devotee. I'm the most fallen devotee. Or I'm not a devotee, is better. I've asked my friend Govinda Datta Prabhu, I've said so many times, Prabhu, you're such a nice devotee, as I'm not a devotee. I'm trying to be a devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually said that once. He said, oh, Lord Chaitanya is such a pure devotee. He said, if I were actually a devotee, I would have left my body. I wouldn't be able to handle this world. So devotees are very, very special. They're the internal potency of the Lord. And we hear about that. We hear about why they're the internal potency of the Lord. We hear Krishna say, Avajananti mam muda, manusim tanuma shritaha, param bhavam ajananto, mama bhuta maheshwaram. He says that fools deride me when I descend in this human form. They don't understand my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. So the non-devotees, they don't understand Krishna's position. That's all. Everybody's a devotee. Every soul's a devotee. But those who are not manifesting devotional service, it's because they don't understand Krishna's position. And even those people who may wear tilak and put on the kunti mala and the robes or whatever, dhoti, they may not be engaging in as intense devotional service as another devotee because they don't necessarily understand Krishna's glories to the degree that another devotee does. Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matasara pavartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service, priti purvakam, with love. So it's an understanding Krishna's position that we can more fully engage in devotional service. And therefore Krishna says, Moga shya moga karmano, moga jnana vichetasaha, rakshashasim masurim chaiva, mohinim prakritim shritaha. Moga shya moga karmano. All of those who don't understand Krishna's position, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all mogashya. They're defeated. Why? Rakshashim ashurim chaiva. They take shelter of the Rakshasha philosophy and the Asura philosophy. That's impersonalism. They take shelter of impersonalism, demigod worship and impersonalism. And therefore, their culture of knowledge, their hopes for liberation, and their fruitive activities are defeated. So, they're bewildered by these things. Mohinim, prakritim, bewildered by material energy. So all of the things we see in the world today, we see all the different problem solvers, the UN and all the politicians. We understand if we can get absorbed in it, we can think, sometimes it's fun to realize how Kali Yuga is real. I was talking to one of my friends, my guru's actually, his Grace Narahari Prabhu, Hawaii, and he was saying, I look at the news, he said, it just makes me realize how real Kali Yuga is, how it just confirms Bhagavatam, and I think it's fun. And that's true. It's nice to confirm Bhagavatam when you actually find out that Rakshasas are real. There really are man-eating demons out there. It's all quite amazing to get that confirmation that, yes, I'm going back to Godhead, the Krishna consciousness movement. But we understand that all their attempts to solve the problems are mogashya. They're finished because they don't understand Krishna. Krishna says, on the other hand, though, he says, Mahatmanas tumam parta, daivim prakriti mashrita, vajantyanan yamanaso gyata buddhitamadhyayam. He says that the Mahatmas, the great souls, they're taking shelter of the daivim prakriti. They're under the control of the internal potency. Why? Vajantyanan yamanaso gyata buddhitamadhyayam. Because they understand that I am the supreme God, original and inexhaustible. So once again, when you understand Krishna's position as original and inexhaustible, then you are daivim prakriti. You're not in the same world as the materialists. You're in the internal potency. You're actually in this world of Srimati Radharani's in control, Bhakti Devi's in control. You're not in the same world as in materialist. So therefore, all the devotees are daivim prakriti mashritaha. They're taking shelter of the divine potency. And so we shall very much always consider them special. And they're all worshipable. And they can all bestow blessings. There's one story I heard, on Prabhupada's disappearance day and appearance day, devotees always give their offerings. And generally, if you have devotees who were there at Prabhupada's disappearance or something, they'll speak. And so in Vrindavan Dham, they naturally have this big program. And this is Kadambakana Swami, when he was president of the Vrindavan temple, he was telling this story. He was saying that at one point, a 95-year-old or very elderly Puri Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother, came and he started to explain the glories of Prabhupada, and he started glorifying Prabhupada, saying how much Prabhupada helped him. And he started begging all of the young devotees for mercy. So why is he begging? This is Puri Maharaj, this is a disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta, very dear to Srila Prabhupada, very dear to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, very advanced, in Vrindavan. How is it he's begging? Because he says all the devotees can bestow blessings. So therefore, the dealings with devotees that's the main part of pure devotional service. I don't care how much you chant. I don't care how many shlokas you know. I don't care how early you get up or how regulated you are. If you can't deal with devotees, then you're struggling very deeply in your Krishna consciousness. So devotees are very special. They're the internal potency of the Lord. Why? How do they get to this internal potency? What's the process? Krishna says, Satatam kirtayantamam yatantashtrujavratah namashantashtimam bhaktya. Says that they are Satatam kirtayantamam. They're always chanting my glories. So devotees are always chanting about Krishna. And you see that when devotees are doing that by their work, by their words, by their actions, they're glorifying Krishna. Just today, we get up early, chant japa, then Mangalartik, then worship. I worship my deities, hear class, prepare for class, sing about Prabhupada, sing about Krishna, give class, take prasadam, then go out to the campus and glorify Krishna, come home, do a few things, then evening time, more devotional service. So in this way, Satatam Kirtayantamam, we're always trying to glorify Krishna. Yatantashtrujavratah, let's make some determination. It takes determination to do this every day. It does. It takes very much determination to get up early every day, to come to Mangalartik every day, to chant Hare Krishna, to give a class when you don't want to do your service every day. Whatever it is, it takes determination. What does determination mean? It has this word, terminate, means to end. We have the end in mind. The determination means that what's the end in mind? That we understand the goal. That's what determination really means. If you want to be determined in your devotional service, do you understand the end goal? And so therefore, I say this for every devotee, we should definitely understand what is our goal, what is our actual prayojana. Because if we don't understand the prayojana, we certainly won't understand the abhideya, and we may or may not understand the sambandha, the relationship. So what is our prayojana? Our prayojana is pure devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnanam karmani navritam anukulyena krishna navshidanam bhakti ruttama. This pure devotional service in the mood of the Vrindavan devotees. That's our goal. Should be clear. I'm going to serve Krishna under all circumstances. Satso yatantashtrajavratah namashatashtimam bhakti. And they're bowing down before Krishna with devotion. All the devotees are doing that in the temple. They're bowing down before Krishna with devotion. So those people who are living like this, that means the devotees, they're all very special souls, and we cannot deride them. And therefore, Prabhupada is saying in the purport here, he's saying that the devotees are also expansions of Lord Vishnu. In fact, they're more important than the deity. They're more important than deity worship. Srila Prabhupada said that if you're on the altar doing artik and a guest arrives, what should you do? Get off the altar, stop the artik, and go preach. That's the rule. So therefore, that's the highest service. And so preaching also means preaching to devotees. Of course, you don't got to get off the altar if a devotee comes in, from Mangalartik. But You want to preach to the devotees. And preaching to the devotees means, more importantly, don't discourage devotees. Try to live in such a way that the devotees are encouraged by your classes, your words, your devotional service should encourage, which is a subtlety. And that's why actually pure devotional service is a lot more subtle than we may think. And when we get those subtleties right, you can see that nectar flow more and more. Parameshwar Prabhu I was telling him, some of my struggles I was having, and he was saying, he just kind of immediately, it's like, that's because of this mentality, that's because of that mentality. And it's like externally, it's all the same, but simple mentality of the devotee is going to affect us. And you see how he's so humble with all the devotees. So they're very special. So with that being said about this, the importance and the specialness of devotees, what is a devotee? What's a devotee? What does Lord Chaitanya define as a devotee?
One who doesn't associate with non-devotees.
That's true. He does say that. That's one of his answers. Yeah. What is it? Asat Samgitag. Vaishnava Achara Asat Samgitag. Yeah, but actually, before that definition, he gives one other definition. He says, one who chants Hare Krishna one time is a devotee of the Lord. One who chants Hare Krishna one time is a devotee of the Lord. That was at Vasa. And there's this man in the Vasa who somehow, I talked to him once, I don't even remember, but then he remembered. So he always wants to talk to me. And he was like genuinely asking me about his problem, about his life. And it was sincere. But his consciousness was so degraded, I cannot for the life of me tell you what he was asking me about. I think, did I ever tell any of you? I told you. Yeah. It was really whack. I mean, whacked out. I didn't even know what to say. I just said, I couldn't answer. Or could not answer. It was too whack. But I ended up leaving. And so then weeks and weeks later, I saw him again, and he was really looking down. He said, hey, my brother just overdosed. And we talked a little bit. He was more open to spiritual knowledge. So I preached to him a little bit. I felt really bad for him. And as I was leaving, I just looked at him and I said, Hare Krishna. And he said, Hare Christian? Hare Christian? I said, Hare Krishna. And he said, Hare Krishna. And Krishna gave me some special mercy. I got some vision. And when I saw him say Krishna, I don't know, I had a vision. I could see that name of Krishna. I saw it seemed like his entire destiny just changed. I saw it with my own eyes. Krishna gave me some vision to see that just by saying Krishna, his entire destiny changed. I can see it. I can see his good fortune begin by that one name of Krishna. So a devotee is someone who chants Hare Krishna one time. Lord Chaitanya says. So, I mean, what we're saying is we should just respect everybody who's coming to this temple. They should all be respected, loved, appreciated. And so in that way, Rupa Goswami tells us how to deal properly. And Madhyamadikaris, middle class devotees, they know how to deal with people properly. That's the main thing. Kanishta Adhikaris may just worship the deity. They may only worship their guru. I have my guru, and my guru, Whereas a Madhyam devotee, he sees that all the devotees are manifestations of Krishna. He treats the devotees appropriately. And he also sees his guru. He also sees Guru Tattva in more than one place. Guru Tattva can come, is Swarat. You cannot put and this is a whole debate now, of course, but Guru Tattva is Swarat. It's independent. It can come through anything it wants. So we hear about how the proper way that if someone is chanting Hare Krishna, they should all be respected within the mind. If someone is chanting Hare Krishna and is initiated and engaged in steady deity worship, they should be given visible respects. And for that person who is pure in his devotional service and is free from the propensity to criticize others, such a person should be worshipped and served. We have our Srila Prabhupada for that. Should be worshipped and served. So in this way, a devotee deals properly. There was something that was said, and I have to address this for the community and all those who may be watching online. And I hope there are some. There was something that was said by a particular visiting devotee, and it was a very, very dangerous statement. And I have to address it because it is not correct, and it's dangerous if we take that statement. That statement was that unless a devotee manifests all 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, you don't have to respect him. That is a very dangerous statement, and that is completely and utterly unshastric and untrue. And you know, don't follow that because you're going to be cheated. You're getting cheated. And I just want to point that out, that our Acharya, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, addresses that. And I want to read this nice from statement, the Madhurya Kadambini, which is one of my favorite books of all time. Okay. I'll just read a little bit of the whole thing. It's really nice. Disrespect for Vaishnavas. Sadhu Ninda, or criticism of Vaishnavas, is the first offense. The word Ninda means animosity or malice, as well as criticism, literal meaning. If by chance this offense occurs, the person should be repentant, recognizing his own low nature and having committing the offense. In the same way, that person who has been burned by fire seeks relief in the fire, he should nullify the offense by lamenting, resolving to come before the Vaishnava, fall at his feet, and satisfy him by offering him obeisances, praises, and respects. If the Vaishnava is not satisfied, the person should remain ready to comply with his every wish for many days. If the offense is so great that the Vaishnava's anger does not die, in great remorse, thinking himself most unfortunate to fall into unlimited hells because of his unmitigated offense, he should give up everything else and take shelter of continuous Nam Sankirtan. By the great power of Nam Kirtan, certainly in time that person will be delivered from his offense. Amazing how the holy name is so merciful that by offending the holy name, the solution is to chant the holy name. One may think, what is the use of falling at the devotee's feet and admitting my offense? The supreme method for destroying offenses is chanting the name, it is said. Namaparada yuktanam namyeva harantyagam abhishranti puryuktani tanye vartakarani cha. The names of the Lord destroy the sin of those who have committed offenses. To the name, by tireless chanting the name, prema will appear. Thinking in this the way, one commits further offense. So we have to apologize. We have to apologize. The point that's being made here is that if you're thinking, what is the use of falling at a devotee's feet and admitting my offense when I can just chant? No, he's saying this is a further to your offense. This is the part I want to point out here about that statement. For all those listening who heard that if a devotee doesn't have all these qualities, they should not be respected. Nor should one think that the offense of Sadhu Ninda operates only in relation to a Vaishnava who is fully and perfectly endowed all the qualities mentioned in the scriptures. This is directly from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, such as tolerance, mercy, kindness to all living entities. So if we think that, I can offend this devotee because this devotee is not advanced, or I can speak bad about them, I'm not going to speak bad about Prabhupada, then this is an offense. Such a person attempts to minimize his own offenses by pointing out some defect in the devotee. There are this, so I can make an offense. In the same section describing offenses in the Padma Purana, it is said concerning sinful persons who worship the Lord. And there's a Sanskrit verse, but I'm not going to read the Sanskrit because it's very long. O Brahmana, persons devoid of proper conduct, who are duplicitous, who cheat the world by their vratas, who are proud, addicted to liquor, and the wicked, who cannot give up sin, are cruel, who are absorbed in wealth, wives, sons, and who are the lowest, become liberated by surrendering to the lotus feet of Govinda. Thus, a sadhu who may show some occasional fault should still be considered a sadhu. Also, if a great offense has been committed against a Vaishnava, but the Vaishnava does not become angry because of his exalted nature, the offender should still fall at the devotee's feet and seek ways of pleasing him in order to purify himself. This is a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is not surprising that the materialist, claiming the gross body is the soul, constantly criticize devotees with envy, become deprived of their powers by the dust of the feet of the great devotees. Power of that criticism is the result it gives. Though a Vaishnava may forgive offenses, the dust of his feet does not tolerate the offense and delivers the fruits of the offenses on the guilty person. So yeah, the Vaishnava may forgive you, but the dust of his lotus feet doesn't forgive you, so beware. Sometimes the causeless or fathomless mercy of a powerful, spontaneous, most elevated Mahabhagavats in distributing mercy is without limit. For instance, even though made to carry Raghunatha's palanquin and made the object of the king's harsh words, Jadabharat bestowed his mercy. In a similar way, Chaitya showered mercy to the atheist Daityas who had come to do him violence. In the same way, Nityananda Prabhu showed mercy to Madai, even though Madai had injured his forehead. So it goes on, but the point is that one should not think that a devotee is, oh, I can offend them because they're not a perfect devotee. And I was giving a class on line Sangha, and one very senior devotee argued this with me, and I did not back down. I said, this is in the Madhurya Kadambini, and you're wrong, sir. And all the other Prabhupada disciples in the Sangha came and they started defending me, and they started saying, yes, Prabhu. And then afterward, I talked to my Shiksha Guru Maharaj, and he said, I'm so happy you stood up for yourself, and you didn't become overwhelmed by seniority. You were totally right. So we do not want to make any offenses. Rather, if there's a devotee that we feel is very obnoxious, we should serve them. When I was in Mayapur, one of my teachers, Srivas, did you have Srivas?
No, I didn't.
Srivas is so cool. Srivas is a disciple of Bhakti Tirtha Swami, and he's an initiating guru in our movement. And Srivas is like the most humble man I've ever come across. He's like he always speaks like he's always just like offering obeisances every second. And he said, I asked him, Prabhu, what about, these mean devotees? We don't want to deal with them, even look at them. He's like, sometimes a devotee could be very obnoxious. He said, so obnoxious. Even though they are obnoxious, we must find ways and means to serve them. He says, we must find ways and means to serve them. And I just said, okay, that's it. And I was at that particular time, I was dealing with a devotee who's not obnoxious, but was acting extremely obnoxious. And I thought, okay, what can I do here? At least I could listen to them. At least I can give them respect of hearing them out, showing them respect, and that way try to serve them. So this is pure devotional service. It has to do with dealing with each other, dealing with devotees. We hear pure devotional service is Anukuyena Krishna Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. It is done in a way that's pleasing to Krishna. So nothing's more pleasing to Krishna than how we're dealing. And so that pure devotional service is subtle. That's the point we want to make. There's subtleties to it. And it's like, why is it that the bhakta comes in, he's chanting 16 rounds, he's doing all the same things as the senior devotee? What's the difference? Is they understand the subtleties. And that's why we need gurus, and we should take shelter of devotees who are advanced, because they can, if you're in the right mood, they can reveal subtleties to you. And those subtleties will help you. But if you feel like, oh, I'm just, I don't need, I have my guru on the shelf, and I don't need any special help. I don't need to talk to other devotees. It just doesn't mean guru. It means the whole guru tattva, any devotee who's more advanced. Then I'm not going to get to understand the subtleties. And the subtleties are how we deal with each other. And those dealings with each other. And just little things like Lord Chaitanya said, that the ornament of a Vaishnava is Vaishnava etiquette. The ornament of a Vaishnava is his etiquette. And so the Vaishnava etiquette is very important. How do you deal with senior devotees? How do you deal with junior devotees? How do you deal with devotees on the same level as you? There's so many little things. Just like in our Bhagavatam class, we have our Bhagavatam class every day. We chant the verse. We try to let Damodar Prabhu go first because he is very senior. It's because it's very pleasing to Krishna that we show that. And so in this way, we are acting in Vaishnava etiquette. It's very sweet. It creates a sweetness. And that's why, Padmanayan Prabhu, he's like the king of Vaishnava etiquette. He's so paka. And did he come to Guru Maharaj's Vyas Puja?
No, I don't know he did.
Well, like last year when I was there, he did come, or he came, and he can glorify a Vaishnava so beautifully. He has a special power to glorify the devotees so nicely. And he has another special power to chastise the devotees super severely. So he has both powers, and in the appropriate time and place. Because he's a very expert Daksha devotee. He's so expert. So in this way, we can become more pleasing to Krishna. And all the things, we hear about. Because on one level, we can say, Krishna's all merciful. And he is all merciful. And, we're chanting, we're sincere, we'll go back to Godhead. It's not about going back to Godhead. It's about love for Krishna. I mean, why do anything? We chant Hare Krishna, you'll go back to Godhead. No, so we're doing everything to please Krishna. That's bhakti. And that comes down to it, like the holy name, if you chant Hare Krishna one time, you get liberated. And, when Haridas Thakur was speaking with Gopala Chakravarti, the tax collector, Gopala Chakravarti said, first off, I'm doing yoga for so many years, and you're saying that if I just chant Hare Krishna one time, I can get liberated. He said that was false advertising. And the Haridas Thakur said, furthermore, that's not even the real goal of chanting Hare Krishna. That's just the Namabhas stage. The Namaparad stage is lower. The real stage of Shuddhanam, we're not even caring about, going back to Godhead. We're trying to please Krishna. So the Shuddhanam doesn't just mean our chanting, it means our everything. We try to make Shuddha. Now, this is, of course, I'm not on any high level. I'm just speaking, trying to encourage myself, because I have really bad Vaishnava etiquette. I think really bad. So, all of you devotees are far more advanced in that regard than me. I really have a bad time interacting with the devotees. I'm trying to preach to myself. But, these things do make a difference. And when I've, made some improvement, I've noticed in my own life, I become more pleased. And also, we can see that, okay, in one sense, these little type of etiquettes don't matter. Like we have all our deity seva aparads, these little things. But we see that we can see Krishna being pleased when we see that all the devotees are pleased. Like when you see a very Paka Vaishnava and he's following etiquette so nicely, all the devotees are very pleased. And when a devotee goes a little against it, the senior devotees, sometimes they think, oh, that's against etiquette. So they're a little displeased. And so this is a reflection of Krishna. It's like when I was first coming to the temple, Ananta Prabhu was always nicely giving me instruction about how I should say Ananta Prabhu instead of Ananta, or always to say Lavanga Mataji instead of just Lavanga. I was always getting corrected in that way. Ananta Prabhu actually, he gave me a lot of, when I first moved to the temple, we met like once a week, and he was instructing me on Vaishnava etiquette. I'm eternally grateful for his instructions in that regard. And all these things, they make a difference, like little things, like there's a little pronunciation, even though that's not so much Vaishnava etiquette, but it's pleasing. We pronounce nicely, it pleases the devotees. It pleases all these, if I still sometimes I'll say something like, Radha Krishna. And then Ananta Prabhu will come to me, he'll say, I appreciate that you said Radha. So I says, you pleased the Vaishnava because you pronounced something right. So in this way, all the subtleties are important in Krishna consciousness. And therefore, it's not something we just, let me look at the book of subtleties. It takes mercy. And so when we hear from Vaishnavas nicely, or even if a Vaishnava is heavily chastising us, if we don't accept it right, that Vaishnava won't chastise us again. That is a loss. That's what I've realized in time. I've done this. I'm guilty of this. But if we don't accept the chastisement right, then we won't get chastised again, which is our loss, not our gain. It's our loss. So I think we'll stop here. Any questions or comments? Chandrika Sarvakanti.
So it's like we obviously, we know we respect and we love devotees, and we feel that love of Krishna in everybody. But it's like our false ego is like a thief. It tries to steal that love and make us feel that, devotees are not perfect in some way or another. So it's really our own false ego, right, that is doing that to ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our false ego. It's this desire to justify. Really, it's justification. That when we see that there's a devotee, they're initiated devotee, they're chanting Hare Krishna, they've chanted Hare Krishna, we want to say, well, they did this. And sometimes it could be Sudarachara, as Krishna says. Api chet Sudaracharo, bhajate mama nanyabak. And there's Sudarachara, bad behavior. They're devoted to Krishna. They're devotees. Sadhareva samantaviha, they're still a sadhu. Samyak Vyavishitosai, and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, in resonance with his same thing he says here in his commentary to that particular verse, he says that if you say, oh, this devotee is a sinner, then Krishna takes an offense at you. They'll quickly become righteous and achieve lasting peace if they remain devotees. So we want to, generally it's the false ego wants to justify bad behavior by saying it's okay because they're not advanced. Now, this is a balance. We could always say, sometimes in managerial positions of any type, leadership positions, even in formal leadership position, you may have to criticize, make some corrections, do these types of things. They should be done in a beautiful way, where the devotee doesn't feel singled out, doesn't feel discouraged, feels uplifted. And for me, it's like when I feel there's a devotee doing something really off, someone that I'm in charge over, I usually don't say anything until I feel the right moment is, because I can see it. If I said something right now, they're going to be upset. So I try to say something in the right time. I'm not perfect at it, but it's over the years I've found helps a lot. And so we don't want our false ego to think that, well, I'm a devotee and they're not a devotee. And, we generally, this is a Christian, one of the Christian saints said this, that when I see the sinner, I think to myself, I would be so much worse if I didn't have the mercy of you, my Christ. So, we may be doing well, but that's because we're getting mercy, not because we're better than anybody else. So yeah, that's all false ego. Nitai, Niranjan Prabhu.
So I've heard that depending on the level of a devotee, you give them different respect. Like Madhyama, you respect in your mind. And then there's
Kanishta, respect in the mind.
Yeah.
Madhyama, respect with visible respects, and Uttama, we serve with heart and soul.
Yeah. I was just wondering if you could comment on the different levels of respect for devotees and how we're supposed to identify the level of devotee and the respect that we're supposed to give them.
That's a good point. And I heard a devotee speak about that. Might have been, I'm not sure which devotee it was a sannyasi who was speaking about that. We have to understand for ourselves, there are symptoms of a kanishta. The symptoms of a madhya bhakta, what is given is that they're duly initiated and they're engaged in their worship of the deity. That's the symptoms, and the way they behave with others, and their preaching. And the symptoms of a madhya are given in one way. We see madhya sees Krishna everywhere. The uttama sees Krishna everywhere. The other definition Prabhupada gives is one who's fully engaged in the preaching service of Lord Chaitanya. So we have to be able to have some ability to judge for ourselves. And of course, someone who's kanishta, we can give them mercy. We can try to uplift them. But we don't want to compare devotees in our mind. This devotee is better, that, because then we get into an offense. Also, Lord Chaitanya says to compare these devotees is an offense. Krishnadas Kaviraj says that. So we don't want to get into that state, but we also have to be able to make distinctions with respect. And when you're around advanced devotees, you're able to see, especially, Padmanabhan Prabhu is my main go-to for this, the way he deals with people. We have to be able to just understand where someone's at. And then they may, be lower than us, and then all of a sudden they may be higher than us. And then in that case, we have to be very careful how we deal with them. Another thing is that we should be friends. And this is actually how we stop envy. We should be merciful to those devotees who are not as advanced as us. And that means, encouraging, uplifting, instructing, engaging. We should be friends with those devotees who are on the same level as us, which is the hard one, actually. The hard one is to be friendly with those people that are on the same level as us, because, there's that tendency to compete. That's there. There's that envy gets in the mind of, no one wants, I'm not going to compete with, Gurudev, no one's going to think like that. But then, God brother is someone same level. Okay, we can think. And you even see that in senior devotees too. We would never say anything bad about me, Prabhupada disciple, but then Prabhupada disciples may sometimes say something bad about each other. We have to just remain that we're not involved in that. So we have to try to become friends, and we have to serve those devotees who are more advanced than us. And you see that really well, Newtown, you've been there, and Indian devotees, Indian brahmacharis are really good at that. So it takes practice, but to give you an honest answer, it's not some thing you can put in a box.
Right.
I think that's one of those things that takes Krishna's mercy to pray, how can I serve this devotee?
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else last minute? Thank you all very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thakur Premanande.